What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. Today's show is going to focus on the world of comic books because we've talked about it pretty extensively. Brian Michael Bendis has finally made his first work public in DC Comics. Of course, Bendis is the famed Marvel Comics writer. He's known for his work on Daredevil and Avengers and Ultimate Spider-Man and so many other Marvel books. Recently signed an exclusive deal with DC Comics, jumping ship from Marvel to DC. Really one of the biggest shakeups in comic books in quite some time. The biggest name in comic book writing for sure has kind of moved from the company he's always been in over to DC Comics. And this week we got the first taste, as I said, of his actual published work as he is working on DC. We've known he's going to be there for a while. We have the first taste of what it's like now. And basically, Bendis is going to be taking over Superman's corner of the DC universe. He'll be writing both Superman and Action Comics, so kind of all of Metropolis is now the domain of Bendis. But first, before we get to that, everything is kicked off with a 6-issue miniseries releasing weekly called Man of Steel. And this seems like it's really going to set the stage for the stories and kind of direction of Bendis' Superman. So Man of Steel 1 came out this week, and that's what we're talking about today. So I highly recommend this comic. I'm really excited for the direction that Superman is going here. So if you like any of Bendis' work in Marvel, or you just generally like good comic book stories, go pick this up. It is a perfect jumping on point. You don't have to know anything that's come before. They're intentionally making this a good reset starting point for getting into Superman. So first of all, this issue introduces us to the big villain that clearly is going to play a role in Superman for at least the first chunk of Bendis' run, and his name is Rogal Czar. Now, we don't know much about him from this first issue, but he clearly has some mad beef with the Kryptonians. The comic opens in the past, of course, before Krypton exploded, and Rogal is requesting from this kind of council of elders to basically eradicate the Kryptonians. He fears that they're spreading their influence and eventually it will drive other planets and other civilizations to war, and he thinks that the Kryptonians are kind of up to no good. Now, Rogal himself is this scary-looking dude who lives on this inhospitable planet away from anyone else, and he'll likely live there and harbor this massive resentment of Kryptonians, where eventually we'll probably see him show up in modern times wanting to kill Superman. But there's clearly a lot more to his story. We don't know what drove him to hating all of Krypton. We don't know kind of what species he is. We don't know what planet he's from. We don't know anything about his backstory. But I'm certain that we will get into that as we go through this miniseries. Now, other than setting up the big villain that we'll be dealing with over the course of the months reading Superman, this series gives us a taste of what Superman is going to be like, written by Bendis. Now, historically, Superman is really hard to write. Superman is the most powerful superhero around, and if nothing can hurt him, how can you relate to him? Where's the suspense? Where's the danger? How can any story be interesting if he's this kind of impervious character? And Bendis does a really good job of showing us just how powerful Superman is, while also giving us a taste of his human side, for lack of a better word. There's a page in this comic where Superman just gets to muse about this song that he hears this girl singing from like miles away using his super hearing. He talks about how beautiful her voice is, and he describes her very poetically and her song very, very like beautifully. And that's kind of in stark contrast to this just being of pure power that he actually is in person. And Superman's even genuinely embarrassed at the fact that he eavesdropped on this song. It wasn't intended for him. He just happened to overhear because of his powers. And it's this real genuine moment where you can see Superman as a person, moments before he is whisked away to go save a bunch of people from a burning building. So I really like that kind of dichotomy of what Superman is all about and what Bendis' Superman is all about. And I think it's character moments like that I think Bendis is so good at. It's really what made his work at Marvel stand out. So I'm really excited to see that stuff get applied to Superman, a character that historically has kind of been lacking in those sorts of moments and maybe hasn't been explored to that depth. I think Bendis will be very good at balancing that tightrope of giving us a real person to like and empathize with, while also not neglecting the planet-threatening terror that comes hand in hand with writing a Superman comic. It is a delicate balance, but Bendis has done it before with Marvel, so I'm more than confident that that will continue here for DC with Superman. Now, Man of Steel is releasing weekly. As I said, issue 1 came out this week, so grab that in preparation for issue 2 next week, and check out the entire direction of Superman for DC under the helm of Bendis. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me to talk about Bendis writing Superman. If you like the show and want to see more, new episodes of Pretty Dece premiere weekdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/PrettyDeceShow. You can also check out the daily episodes on the podcast feed or the YouTube channel. You can find that at prettydeceshow.com/video. And of course, finally, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Pretty Dece Show.